they will want to play it. Okay, all right. So welcome everyone to the demo session. Tonight is another demo session. We have a class starting very soon. I'm almost wrapping up with the current class that I have ongoing. It might be just maybe the last session. I have maybe the very final session, or maybe last two sessions, and then that's it. The current class, the current batch, which is the March class, it's ending. I'm wrapping up with that class, and then a new class is starting. A new class is starting. Ideally, I wanted to start May 31st, May 30th. That is Saturday, May 30th. But we'll see. We'll see if we're able to get started. So welcome to the financial market education. I want to go through some few things over here. So I want to talk about what the financial market really is, right? How the market moves, the fundamentals. You guys have seen the chart even tonight. I actually got into a trade whilst I was about to start this session. So how the market moves, the fundamentals, who this is for, right? So who this is for and who this is not for, right? How you can get enrolled in this education or this program. And why this skill is life-changing. This is very important. As I speak to you now, a lot of you might be thinking I'm in the US. No, I'm not in the US. I am in Ghana, right? But guess what? I can get on the chart. As long as I have a laptop, I have a computer, I have internet access, the market is open for me, right? So I am not bound by location. The market is not location sensitive, right? We'll get through that very soon. What you will learn in the program, we'll go through that as well. What you guys will learn, if you happen to be part of the program, what you're going to learn, we'll do that. And then, of course, what the Trade Without Tears Academy, the difference, what I sought to do for my students as well. And, of course, live Q&A. I'm going to open the floor. You guys will have the opportunity to ask questions, here and there, if there are any as well. Okay. All right. This is very important. So the financial market, guys, the financial market, some of you are aware, some of you are already doubling in here and there. Traditionally, I expect that, some of us, we may have, gotten into the financial market some way, somehow before. We all have some kind of stocks, right? We all have some kind of stocks. Before I do that, can everybody type in, maybe their location where they are joining in from? I just want to, have a feel of, who I'm talking to tonight. So just location. Just type in location in the chat for me. All right. It's also another way for me to know that I didn't put anybody to sleep, right? I know some of you might be joining from elsewhere in Europe, everywhere around the world, and so you guys might be a little bit late, but I want to make sure that you guys are still here, and I didn't put anybody to sleep. So let me let me get a quick yes, your location in the chat so that I know who I'm dealing with or who I'm talking to, and then it's another way to ensure that you guys are awake and I have people that I'm talking to and I'm not talking to myself. All right, let's go ahead, let's get moving. So I know that we may all have encountered or one way or the other participated in the market before, whether the traditional investment, the traditional investment of buying stocks, we've all done it before, right? But trading is very different. Traditional investment, what I mean by that is that, we buy stocks, we hold, and we hope that, the stock value will appreciate. So if I bought McDonald's, if I bought Microsoft, if I bought Tesla stock, let me use a hypothetical number. Let's say I bought a Tesla stock for $100, right, per stock. My hope and my prayer is that the value of the Tesla stock is going to move up, right? It's going to go to 110, 120, 150, $200, $300. And by doing that, when the price keep moving up, then, I'm also on the good side because, how much I bought it for, the price has appreciated. That is the traditional way, the traditional sense of, investment, and which is okay. There's nothing wrong with it, right? I still have, up to today, I still have some of my portfolio, from way back. I still have, Microsoft stocks. I still have, Tesla stocks. I still have, McDonald's, Walmart. I have all these stocks in there, right? That is traditional type of investment. But in trading, it's very different, right? Trading, we are not holding on to the belief that, stock value should always go up and not come down. In trading, we believe that the market moves in three ways. It moves up. When it moves up, we are happy. Why? Because we can go long, right? We can go long as the market is even moving up, right? We can go along with it and make profit. And if the market is coming down, if you bought, traditional, the kind of thing that I'm talking about, traditional type of investment where you buy stocks, sometimes your stock value can also come down depending on the performance of the company, right? So depending on the performance of the company, the stock value might come down. And when it comes down, you are only going to be, the only chance that you have, the only opportunity that you have is to what? Is to go on your knees and start praying. Why? Because you gain nothing. And the value of your portfolio might even come down to zero, right? And there's nothing that you can do when it comes to traditional investment and then the value coming down against you. But in trading, it's different. If the market goes down, I can do another thing. What can I do? I can short the market, right? I can short the market. So the market moves in three ways. It goes up, it comes down, and it goes sideways, right? We'll talk about all these things. When the market goes sideways, that means the market is consolidating, right? The market is just what? Consolidating. It's just range bound. When it does that, I don't care about it, right? I don't care about it, the direction the market goes, right? If the market is going sideways, the market is going range bound, the market is consolidating and doing whatnot, I don't care. Because if the market is going up, I love it. I'll go along with it, right? If the market is rallying, I'll go along with it. If the market is coming down, the price is falling, guess what I would do when I'm in trading? I will short the market as well. So I'll fall with it and make money as well. If the market is going nowhere, its market is stuck in the range, consolidating, it's okay. There is nothing wrong with it. So this is what separates, traditional type of investment, from trading. But I know we've all participated, right? So the financial market is very huge. It's a platform where buyers, sellers exchange financial instruments, including currencies, stocks, commodities, bonds, derivatives, and other things like that. Every second, guys, there are trillions of dollars change hands across this market, right? Trillions of dollars, just like I was doing before the starting of the session, right? Trillions of dollars. There are buyers, sellers. There's something going on, right? Creating wealth for those who understand how to participate. Look, I'm going to tell you guys, this skill set, I don't know, but it is what is it. I think it's one of the greatest skills that anybody, right? I would love for everybody to have. Why? Because can you imagine just waking up in the middle of the night? That's what I do all the time. If I wake up in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m. and nothing to do or whatever, if I happen not to be praying or doing anything like that, and at 2 a.m., 3 a.m., I just pull up my chart. When I pull up my chart, my naked eyes have been trained good enough to spot opportunity on the market, right? So every second there is something going on. There are people who are ready to sell, who are ready to buy. That is what makes the market moves, right? And of course, we have the futures market. The futures market, they are contracts on indices, right? Contract on commodities. So you can trade gold, you can trade crude oil, you can trade copper, you can trade platinum, you can trade natural gas. There's so many things that you can trade on the futures market, right? It is the market that I was trading, right? This market right here. Let me bring my chart up here. This market that I was trading some few seconds ago, as you guys saw me, this market over here, that I was targeting $150 per trade, and I've already made that money. On this account I made $163. On this account I made $236. And on the rest of all the accounts over here, I've made $236 on all these accounts, right? I could have even made more, but I already set my daily profit target on this account to 150, and even went beyond that, right? It even gave me more, right? So the market is open over here. There are sellers and there are buyers, going on here, and that is what makes the market moves, right? This is what makes the market moves. Essentially, in a futures market, this is a futures market, right? Futures market, you can trade, the indices. The indices is it's like a derivative of the stock market. So the S&P 500, the Dow Jones, the Nasdaq, right? This is the Nasdaq. This chart that you guys are looking at is a Nasdaq. That's my favorite, right? I trade the Nasdaq, or if you give me a chance, I will do the Nasdaq 24/7, right? If you give me a chance, I will do the Nasdaq 24/7. I love the Nasdaq. I love how it moves. Some people love gold, right? Some people would love to trade gold. Let me see if I can bring the chart for gold. right? So this is gold. The GCM over here is gold. This market is gold. This market is gold over here. I can bring up, crude oil. You can trade, crude oil as well, right? Let me bring, crude oil. Crude oil is the MCLN. This market over here. This is crude oil, right? Yeah. This is the crude oil right now. So crude oil is selling at, the current price right now. That is where we are right now. Current price is $88 per 88.53. So $88 dollars per barrel, right? I can trade, crude oil, even if I go to TradeView, right? So in the futures market, it's very huge. We have the S&P 500. This is the S&P 500, right? This chart right here, right, is the S&P 500. This is NASDAQ, right? This is NASDAQ. This is the Dow Jones, right? This is the Russell. This is the 5-year Treasury, right? This is a 10-year Treasury bond. It's also open. This market is also open as well. I can trade that as well. So the market, I am not short of opportunities of what to trade or what to look at. This is the 30-year, the 2-year Treasury note, right, that I can trade as well. This is natural gas. So natural gas is selling at 3.297 right now. So this is natural gas, chart right now, right? As you guys can see, this is the Brent gasoline, yeah. And this is gold, right? This is gold over here. So GC is gold right here. So gold is selling at the current price of gold is 4,524. That's the current price in the futures market right now as we speak. This is silver, so I can trade silver as well, right? So in the futures market, there are a lot of opportunities, guys. A lot of opportunities, right? This is why, if my eyes are trained very well to know where to buy, where to sell, and understand where the market is going, I can take advantage 24/7, right? This is silver. This is a silver market right now. This is what? Copper. So this is copper as well, and this is platinum, right? Yeah, this is palladium, and this is platinum, and then this is BTC, this is Ethereum, even agriculture product, right? So there are corn. This is soybean futures market. This is soybean futures market. This is ZC. This is corn market right now, right? This is soybean oil, right? This is cocoa. So this is cocoa as well. So there are a lot. There are a lot to trade, and even currencies. There is a currency version of the futures market as well that if I wanted to look at, I can look at as well, right? But usually from the futures market, what I look at is the indices, particularly the NASDAQ, right? The NASDAQ is what I trade 24/7. So there are so many, right? We have the futures market, and then we have the Forex market. I know the Forex market is very popular in Africa, right? Because when I look at my African brothers and African sisters, a lot of times what you will hear them talk about is the the currencies, right? I hear them talk about Forex, and we all know Forex, right? Forex is the most liquid market as well. There are about $6.6 trillion being traded every day. Can you guys imagine that you have been praying to God, give me a breakthrough, give me a breakthrough. But you didn't know that there's a market out there that is doing $6.6 trillion, right, per day. Guys, let me repeat that one more time so that you can hear this. The Forex market is the most liquid market on earth. Why? The reason is that there are about $6.6 trillion per day being traded, right? 6.6 billion, not even billion, trillion being traded every day. The most liquid market out there. That means currencies. People are buying currencies. Global trade of currencies out there. And currency is also very huge, right? The currency market is also very huge. Let me come to the chart here quick. Hopefully you guys can see my chart here. The currency market is also very, 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 very huge. Very huge as well, right? Very huge as well. Because we have the major currency, right? What I have right now on my chart is the Euro USD. This is the USD JPY. That means it is the United States dollar, Japanese yen, which can be traded, right? If you know what you're doing, if your eyes have been trained enough, you should be able to trade this market as well, right? We have the GBP USD. That's a great, Britain pound, the Great Britain pound, United States dollar pair. So the Forex market is a currency pair, and we all have some way, somehow, participated, in our own little way when it comes to the Forex market or the currency market, right? If you have ever traveled abroad, and I know we've all done this, right? Some way, somehow, a little bit. If you ever travel anywhere and then you needed the local, currency, right? So if I was traveling to Ghana, right, and I had some few United States dollars on me, and then when I go to Ghana and I say, hey, I want to change the dollar that I have on me, I have $200, I have $100, I have $50, and they say, well, then you have to go to the Forex Bureau, right? So you go to the Forex Bureau, what do? You sell the dollar that you have, and then they give you the Ghana cedis, right? That is the Forex market. That means you have participated. If you have traveled internationally, right, and then you go to an international airport, and then you wanted to maybe, do a quick exchange over there so that you can have the local currency, so you can buy some few things. That means you have participated in the Forex market, right? So there are huge participants when it comes to the Forex market, right? We have banks, we have hedge funds, we have institutions, we have government, corporate organizations, etc. They all are players when it comes to the Forex market. This is why it is the most liquid market, very huge. When you wake up in the morning, traders are buying goods in China, they are buying goods in Singapore. There's a lot of transaction going on from UBS Bank to Citibank to JP Morgan, HSBC, to Barclays. There are a lot of transactions going on, a lot of global trade going on. How are they doing this transaction? It's by currency, right? And there are people who actually participate not just in the trade, but participate in the currency market itself, right? We are able to analyze which currency is becoming weak, and then we take advantage of the currency that's becoming weak globally, and then make profit out of it. So if I know that Ghana cedi is going to be weakening, right? Ghana cedi, I think a few months ago, a year or 2 years ago, whatever, went all the way up to 17 cedis per dollar, whatever, right? That means the cedi is becoming weak, right? If you have an idea or you have the knowledge of this market, what are you going to do? You will short it, right? You will take advantage of it and ride on it, right? So that's the Forex market. The Forex market is very huge, and there are huge participation, a lot of organizations that participate in this market. And then we have the stock market, right? Stock market is ownership stakes in what? In companies, right? I said it from the beginning. We've all done it before, and up to today, I still hold on. I may have to log in and sometimes check out some of this stock that we the position that we hold, right, and see how they are doing. I still have my Tesla stocks. I still have Microsoft, McDonald's, Walmart. I have all these stocks out there, right? And it is just ownership, right? When you buy stocks, you become a fractional owner, right? You become you have stake in that organization. Before me even traveling to America, I bought almost about 10,000 or 20,000 stocks of EcoBank ETI, stocks. These days I don't even know what these stocks are doing in Ghana, right? How they are doing, how they are performing, right? So I have always been interested in the financial market, right? I've always been interested in the financial market. And then we have the crypto market as well, digital asset. It is also making waves. We are all hearing of Bitcoin and all these other, digital asset out there. They're all great, right? So the financial market is huge, guys. The financial market is huge. And I want you guys to know, but every second what is going on, if you have good knowledge, good grasp, if you have this skill set, you are able to participate in this market, right, and make some money. You see, what I want you to understand is the scale of opportunity right in front of you, right in front of you. When I'm talking to my brother Chief, and we talk about this term that there's the wealth transfer going on, right? Wealth transfer going on to ordinary people. Back in the days, if you have to know somebody, your uncle, auntie, aunties, and aunties, brother, niece. If you have to know somebody, these days it's not like that, right? If you understand some of these things, you have this skill set, you can just tap in. This is the greatest wealth transfer going on, right? It is happening daily. The thing is that if you can imagine 7.5 trillion Forex daily volume going on. If you can look at $500 billion when it comes to US equity market, that's the US stock market, the New York Stock Exchange, the NASDAQ combined, doing almost about 500 billion every day, going on. And this is happening 24 hours. The market is open, right? The stock market closed at 4:30, but the futures market is opening. People are trading. You guys saw me trade, to trade this evening, even before this session, right? The market is open. The market is open. Most people work for money, right? But the wealthy have their money work for them. Financial markets are the primary vehicle through which, wealth is created. And we need to participate, and we need to not just, hear this and then go back to bed. We need to be part of this, right? We need to be part of this. What is part of this? So learning to trade and invest is not just a luxury. It's a life skill that can transform your financial future permanently. This is very, very important. Our understanding of this market, how big it is, and the wealth transfer that is going on, and our ability to participate. Guys, this is life-changing, right? This is life-changing, right? This is life-changing. So what makes this market moves? If you didn't know anything, right? If you didn't know anything about this market, and you're coming into this market as a beginner, and a lot of you're coming in, we all came in like that, right? Very new, we didn't know anything about this market, but there is something that makes it move. The price equation. More buyers than sellers, you see the price go up. That is what you guys need to understand. You guys need to know. When there are more buyers, than sellers, are going on for any kind of instrument. It doesn't matter. It can be gold, it can be crude oil, it can be natural gas, it can be silver market, it can be platinum, it can be copper, it can be soya bean, it can be corn, it can be any market out there, right? When there are more buyers than sellers, that is what creates, the green candle. You guys saw the chart. Let me bring the chart up here quick, right? When there are sellers, there are more sellers than buyers, the price goes down. And that's what creates what we call candlesticks on the chart. So if you guys saw on the chart, what was happening, you guys can see some red candle, some green candle, and whatnot, all these charts moving, right? Right. Let me bring it up here. If you guys look at this, the candlesticks over here, right? These candlesticks over here, right? When you see the green candle, you see the red candle, that means there are sellers, people who are selling, right? When you guys look, can see this out here. Let me bring this out here, right? So you guys can see this. There's a green candle over here. There's a red candle over here. When there are more sellers than buyers, right? That means the sellers are overwhelming. They are overpowering the buyers. We'll get to see on the chart here some large red candles. That means, sellers are essentially dominating the market. That's what you guys need to understand. That means what? Sellers are dominating the market. And then when you guys see that there are more green candles also over here, more green candles over here than red candles, that means what? Buyers are also dominating the market, right? They are essentially overwhelming them. They are exhausting them, right? So you can see over here, the red candles, the green candles, they are not just candles. They are a representation of people, right? Yeah, people like us, retail sellers, other institutions who are participating in this market. So there are sellers, there are buyers, right? Sellers and buyers. So these candlesticks that we see over here, they represent what? Sellers and buyers. This is the crude oil market, right? So they shorted all the way from here about $90, and it came down all the way down here to about $87, right? So that means the sellers were in control of this market, right? That is what this means. When I look at this chart, I see that the sellers were really in control and the buyers step in, right? I can see that there's some green candles also stepping over here. So I see that some buyers also stepping into the market to push the price up. But still, I can see that the sellers were really heavy. They were very strong when it comes to this market, right? So they are a representation, the candlesticks that we see on the chart. That is what I want you guys to take home, right? The candlesticks that we see on the chart, they are representation of what? Sellers, and then what? Buyers. Sellers and buyers. It is not just green candle, it is not just red candle, but there are real people behind it who are interested in participating in the market and they are actually interested in what? In selling, and some of them are also what? Interested in what? Buying. When I got into the trade, some of you that were looking at what I was doing, when I got into the trade, I was interested in buying, and that was NASDAQ, right? So I was interested in buying, and I actually bought it at this price. I actually bought it from somewhere here. I actually bought it here, and then I sold it. When I got to my profit target, right? So I was in a trade before I started the demo session, just this evening, right? With NASDAQ, right? And this is all that I was looking for. I was just looking for my $150, but I even got more than what I'm looking for. But there are sellers. What I need you guys to understand is that there are sellers behind the buys and behind the sales that is going on. All right, moving on. Let me come back to the slide. Let's come back over here. All right. So when there are more buyers than sellers, the price goes up. And you guys can see that green candles get printed on the chart, right? And then when there are more sellers than buyers as well, the price does what? It comes down. Price goes down. And that's what prints the red candles that we see as well, right? The red candle. But there are other institutional stuff, right, that we need to know that makes the market moves. Things like, institutional orders, banks, hedge funds, algorithm. They drive almost about 80% volume of what drives the market, right? And there are other things like economic data, right? Economic data like NFP, non-farm payroll, CPI, interest rates, etc., GDP, Fed rate. All these data releases, sort of impact on the market, right? They sort of change the dynamics and change the market direction and the biases of the market every day, right? So this is something that we need to be aware of it. There are things like order flow, imbalances, when buyers overwhelm sellers, explosive moves, okay. And we see this when there are geopolitical events. When we wake up one day and America and Israel say that they're already launching an attack on Iran, right? They're already attacking Iran. What's going to happen? Crude oil price out of nowhere, it was trading about somewhere in the 60 or something like that. It went all the way to $115 per barrel. All these geopolitical tensions, geopolitical, wars can impact on some of the instruments that we trade. Not all the instruments, but some of them, right? Particularly if you look at the U.S., Israel, Iran, kind of banter and war. That means, crude oil is going to affect crude oil. It's like, so if you are trading crude oil, you got to be aware of it. I know and have friends who have made a lot of money for the past even 2 months just by, US, Iran, and Israel, crude oil thing, right? As the prices are moving up like that, they are buying, right? They've made serious money. Some of them have made over $100,000 just the past, 2 months, right? By just Israel and America and Iran, war that was going on. Just like that, right? If you know what to do, if you understand what is going on, if you understand the instrument, right, you'll be able to trade crude oil and make some money, right? And there are other things like technical levels as well. All this combination of all these confluences and things that I've just mentioned, this is what makes the market moves. This is what moves price on any instrument, right? When I say instrument, like on any asset that we trade, right? It doesn't matter whether it is NASDAQ, it is the Dow, it is the S&P 500, it's crude oil, it's gasoline, it is natural gas, it is agricultural product, whether wheat, corn, soya bean, etc. It doesn't matter. But all this kind of, institutional plays, kind of impact on the market a little bit as well. All right, moving on. Why, this financial education, right? It's one of the best investments that anybody can make. There's a reason, right? And one of the reasons I mentioned that even earlier, you can trade from anywhere, right? You can trade from anywhere in the world. One of the reasons why this financial market education, for me, I strongly believe that everyone should be able to understand this. Everyone should be able to have this skill set. Everyone should be able to participate in this market. And one of the reasons, number one, is what? You can trade from anywhere. And I'm an example, right? I'm an example of this. I trade from where? Anywhere in the world. Anywhere. Currently in Ghana. I'm not back home in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm not home in ATL, right? I'm in Ghana right now. But guess what? As long as I have internet, as long as I have my laptop, You guys saw me trade right now this evening, right? You guys saw me trade right now this evening, right? So all you need is a laptop, a phone, and the internet, right? You can trade anywhere, in a cafe, in another country, location independent, kind of income. That's what we are talking about here, where your income is not tied to a seat, it's not tied to a location, it's not location sensitive. This is one of the greatest benefits, when it comes to understanding and when it comes to participation of this financial market, right? Number two is unlimited earning potential. Unlike a salary, there is no ceiling, there is no cap, there is no limit, right? As your skill and account grows, so does your income potential, right? Exponentially, right? So as you can see on the market, as you can trade on the market, you can essentially make money from this market anyhow, right? Anyhow. Multiple income stream. So active trading, passive investment, teaching others, one skill that opens this skill set, it opens up a lot of things. You can work on your own hours. So trading hours, I'm not bound by it. It's already 11 p.m. in Ghana, and I'm not bound by hours. You guys saw me before the session. I'm not bound by I have to go and work 9 a.m. before I can make money, or it has to be 10 a.m. I have to go to some office before I can make money. No. I'm actually done for the day, right? On that account that I was trading, that is my Lucid account. The account that I was trading, that you guys saw me, looking at the trade. This Lucid account over here, I'm actually done for the day, right? I'm actually done for the day. This is my Lucid account. I've already made the money that I'm looking for on that account. On that Lucid account, I actually got paid, $9,000. Just I think on Tuesday, right? So I actually got paid, Tuesday, and Monday, coming Monday, I will, get paid again, another $9,000 again on that account, right? Because I've built a lot of buffer on this account, and I'm able to take out that kind of money, right? Essentially, what they, and I'll talk about this as well. This is what we call prop firms, right? I trade prop firms account as well. That means I don't even trade with my own money. There are companies that are willing to give you money to trade. They are willing to give you money. Let me say that one more time so I can sink in for somebody. These companies are willing to give you money to trade. So I'm not even using my own money to trade here, right? So I'm trading the company's money called Lucid, right? So as long as you have this skill set, you can demonstrate to them that you are very good, and that's it. You get paid by trading their capital, their money, and I'm trading Lucid's money, right? And for now, I've traded good enough, built a lot of buffer. I've almost done almost about 16,000 or so. If I come over here, let me come over here. So I've done over. I have about 14,833 on each of these accounts. So that entitles me to withdraw almost about $45,000 on $45,000 on this account, right, on the Lucid. And there's so many of these accounts like that I have, right? I have Apex, I have Tradify, I have all this, so I'll talk about that maybe at the end. So you guys may have to remind me so that I don't forget, talk about prop firms and how you can even leverage on other people's capital, right? Other companies' capital, even to trade and make money off from them, right? Because you have demonstrated that you understand this market, and you can trade with their capital. And so they give you the money to trade, and then they share the profit with you. When I make money, I take 90% and then they take 10%, right? I'll talk about that. Someone should write it down so I don't forget, right? Because I'm talking about a lot of things tonight, right? All right, so let's get into it. So it's a skill set that lasts forever. This is probably one of my favorite, right? A skill set that lasts forever. As a matter of fact, I don't even want to talk about it as a skill set that lasts forever, but it's a legacy skill set. That means it is transferable. It's a skill set that you can essentially transfer it over to your kids, to your nieces, your nephews, and to the family, right? So they don't have to wake up and then be looking for applications. They're writing tons and tons of applications, whilst people have created wealth with this market, right? And then the low barrier to start. You don't need a lot of capital to enter or to participate in this market. As a matter of fact, in the Forex market, you can essentially even trade the currencies with $10, with $50, with $5, right? In the currency market, right? But in the futures market, I always recommend that you have some good amount of money, maybe $200 or maybe $2,000 or something to start with when it comes to the futures market, right? At least that allows you to control some number of contracts when you participate in the market, when you trade, right? So why the financial market education is one of the best investment that anyone, for me, I think anyone can get or should have, right? Now, if you happen to be part of this class, there are a lot of things I'm going to be teaching, right? I'm going to teach about the financial market, how they work, the types of market. Of course, we'll get into the stock market, the futures market, the forex market, and all the other markets, right? The options market, etc., right? We'll talk about the market participants, the retail, the institutions out there. We'll talk about reading price chart, candlesticks, bars, time frames. We'll talk about all these things, right? I'll talk about them. I'll talk about understanding bid, the ask spreads, other types. We'll talk about them. Introduction to the trading platforms. There are so many trading platforms that I use. The resources, the technology, etc. We are not short of them. There's so many of them. There's a plethora of resources out there that we will get on. Understanding of risk and reward. The mathematics of trading, we'll get into that, right? And there are things that, support, resistance, things that you hear, the buzzwords that you hear out there, the foundation of price action, trend identification, higher highs, lower lows, etc. We'll talk about them. Supply and demand zones, where institutions trade, candlestick patterns and what they signal. We'll talk about some indicators as well, particularly the 14, 21, and 200 EMAs, right? Exponential moving averages, we'll talk about that. The VWAP, right? Volume weighted average price, we'll talk about them. And then volume analysis, right? Confirming momentum moves, etc. We will also talk about this if you happen to be part of this, right? We'll talk about all these things as well, and even more, right? This is not all the things that we're going to be talking about, right? Advanced strategies, momentum trading, riding institutional aggressions, open range breakout, the orb, right? I'll teach the orb strategy, the 5 minutes orb, the 15 minutes orb, the 30 minutes orb. I'll teach that, the 5-minute framework, top down analysis, wick analysis for directional biases. We'll talk about that. So there are a lot of things that we'll be talking about in this journey. If you happen to be here, the higher highs, lower lows, the entry confirmations, the Enki poke signature pattern, the set rules. I teach my students. The psychology as well. Market psychology is very important, right? Risk management, right? 1 to 2% rule per trade. Look, I always tell my students, right from day one, right from day one, day two, we talk about this. Risk management is part of our strategy. Risk management, as a matter of fact, we are here to preserve our capital. One of the fundamental things that we talk about. We are not even here to, I don't even tell them that we are here to make money and wonder. I mean, as for money, it's automatic, it's default, right? But we are here, so that we'll be able to preserve our capital. That is what's going to sustain us, make sure that we stay in this market for the long haul. And so risk management is key, right? Most people will tell you, don't risk more than 2% of this. As a matter of fact, I even watered it down, right? I have a risk management model that I teach that it will ensure that, before you even lose your money, right? That means you essentially should have traded almost about 100 times before you, and all the trades that you've taken, 100 trades that you've taken consecutively, they all resulted in a loss. Let's say you take one trade, the second trade that you take is a loss. Third trade, fourth trade, fifth trade, sixth trade, seventh trade, eighth trade, ninth trade, 15th trade, 21st, 25th, 27th trade. So you went all the way to 100 and every trade is a loss, right? That is how you've lost your money. And that is virtually impossible, right? It's going to be impossible to take or use that kind of risk model that I'll be teaching, and then you're going to lose. As a matter of fact, I have another risk model that ensures that you should have taken about 400 trades to lose your money. So if you're bringing in, let's say $5,000, $10,000 to the market, right? You should have taken, trades from 1 to 400 before you lose all your money. And that is impossible that you lose 400 trades, right? Without not even a single win. It's impossible. But that is if you follow the risk model that I'll be teaching, right? That is how you stay in the market for long. And that is how, preservation of capital comes in. All right. So we'll talk about things like position sizing for any account size, right? How we take positions, when it comes to trade, trading psychology, fear, greed, discipline, etc. We'll talk about that. Building a trading plan, right? Look, my trading plan, my trading purpose and goal is going to be different than yours, right? Maybe you are looking at making some money so that you can take care of yourself. I might be looking at maybe trading this so that I can maybe also, earn some little income for, for a week or so. Everybody's trading goal, their trading purpose is different, right? Somebody might be trading and their sole goal is that this money that they are earning, they want to be able to build a house, they want to buy this land, right? Everybody's trading goal and purpose is different. And so when it comes to trading goal and purpose, I will help you design a good trading goal and purpose. And that means that you will have a daily goal. You see, some people have a goal that every day they want to make $100. They want to make $50. They want to make $500, right? Some of us, trading goal is that maybe we want to make $1,000 a day, right? And there are ways and the things that you have to do to be able to make that kind of money as well. There are risks and there are reward in here. The more risks, the more reward, right? But you're not just going to take it blindly. You're not just getting blindly and say, nah, I'm looking for $1,000, so you're just going to put all your money in there. No, right? There are risk models that you need to adhere to. There are risks, frameworks that, you cannot just, just get in anyhow, right? I know you're an adult, right? It's so funny. I know you're an adult, you have your rights, you can do anything like, but hey, I want all of us to grow together. I want all of us to, preserve our capital. I want us to move to the next level together and not lose your money. And so we will ensure that, there is. Okay, all right. Can you guys hear me? I think I lost my internet here in Ghana for a second, but it's back. All right. Can you guys hear me? Am I audible enough? Guys, let me get a yes, something in the comments to let me know that, you guys can hear me now and I'm audible. Am I audible? Okay, all right, so we're back. Looks like, MTN broadband, they took away their internet for a second, but we are back. We are back. We are back on here. MTN took their internet for a second, but we are back. All right. So I was talking about, building a trade plan, right? So your trade plan could be $50 a day. That's what you're looking for. That's all that you're looking for. $100 a day. That's what you're looking for. So, at the end of our training journey, I help everybody design and build their trade plan, right? Their, trade plan and journal, right? And of course, live trading sessions with commentary. Every now and then I check in over here, and do a live session and even provide, a daily market, sheet as well, what I'm looking at, right? I give this opportunity to my students as well, for them to look at. So if you love the NASDAQ, you love the Russell, you love the Dow Jones, you love the crude oil, the gold, etc., I provide a daily market analysis of the futures market, particularly the futures market, for my students every day, right? What potentially I'm looking at if the market is to come down to that price, where I will buy, where I will sell, etc., right? So these are all trade opportunity, for everyone, right? For everyone. Okay, all right. So these are, the key concept that we will definitely, be looking at, in this journey as well. So the candlestick chart, read price action precisely. I showed you guys, we went to the chart. Every candlesticks, represents something, right? It represents something, the EMAs are there, supply and demand, where institutional footprint. And this is our bread and butter, right? This is where, we sit. Institutional footprint. I teach my students to be able to follow institutional footprint. There's a way to see that this is big institution. This is smart money coming into the market. And so we need to follow smart money, right? And then risk management. Of course, I've talked about risk management a lot, already, right? Multi-time frame analysis, right? 4 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, 5 minutes top-down approach, and that gives us a higher probability setup, A+ setup. We'll talk about that. Opening range, right? This is also a very good strategy. Most of our students testify of this. I hear them talk about this a lot, and I'm quiet and I'm just watching them. I'm just listening to them, right? Most of my students, they talk about this. The open range that I teach them. The up, the 15 minutes up. It always work for them. They tell me it always work for them. They make good money from the open range, the 15 minutes up. For the market open, 15 minutes after market open, it always works for them. Momentum trading, something that I'm teaching them as well, where we enter explosive directional moves with structures, right? Not guesswork, with structures. This is something that, they're also taking advantage of as well. So who is this program designed for and who this is not for? So if you're like me, who love financial freedom, right? when I was going to this, look, you know what you guys are going to be paying for this education. I paid over $60,000, you know, for this training, right? I paid over $60,000 from a Wall Street legend to learn this the right way. You know, prior to this, you know, my journey started somewhere around 2017. But around that time, I was just doing things. I've always been interested in this market, right? But I was getting into this market emotionally. What that means is that I was losing money, right? Because anything that you do it emotionally without the right skill set and education, you're going to be all over the place, right? You will hear somebody say, go and buy this, go and buy that. But you don't even understand why the person say, go and buy, right? People were just telling me, I'll see this somewhere on X, on Twitter, on Instagram, and everywhere. People say, you know, we should go and trade this, go and buy this, and I'll go and buy it. Because I was genuinely interested in participating in the market, but I didn't understand, you know, I didn't know the right way to get into this, right? I have zero background when it comes to technical analysis, being able to just read the chart, just like, you know, I was trading this evening. Before this, some of you that joined early, I saw about 6 people or so on before we started with the demo session. You know, be like, you know, I didn't understand how even to come over here. I didn't even know there's platform that you have to come over here. We were just buying. They said go and buy, go and sell. But we didn't understand, why are we buying? Where is price? Is price overbought, oversold? Why are we buying this at a discount? Then we were just buying things like that. So we lost money, right? I lost a lot of money. That's not even part of how much I paid for my journey or how much I paid for my education. No, I love financial freedom, but even proud to that, the money that I spent, the money that I committed to this, you know, kind of market, in that, you know, I lost it because, you know, they just go say, you hear somebody say buy this, buy that, but you didn't understand it. You cannot even read the chart, right? You don't even know why they are saying that go and buy this asset, right? You have no idea. All that, you know, you do is that people say buy this and buy that. You know, you have zero knowledge to the market. You cannot read anything on the chart. You have no idea where price moved from, where it is going. Oh, this is why, you know, I have to wait patiently, sit on my hands, not do anything, wait for price to come down to this level, and then when it gets to this level, I may have to buy here. You have zero knowledge when it comes to this, right? And I was just doing this emotionally. I'll just get into the market emotionally, without any skill set, without any education. And of course, when you get into the market without any education, guess what it's going to result in? It's going to result in tears, right? In losses. This is why I said that no, I'm going to establish an academy that's going to be Trade Without Tears, right? Because I've already cried, I've already shed all the tears, right? You know, but after getting the education the right way, I said, no, I need to let other people do this also the right way, right? Do this also the right way. So that's why I established Trade Without Tears, because I've already done all the tears for you guys, right? It is always said, there's a popular saying that says that the first mouse gets the trap. The second, the third, and all the other mouse that comes after that, they get the cheese to eat for free, right? So if you put a trap there and you put a cheese on top of the trap, right? The mouse, the first mouse that comes, the trap is going to nip the first mouse, right? And then the second mouse, the other mouse, that they all come after him, they all get to eat the cheese for free, because somebody has already paid and sacrificed, you know, for the rest of you. So like I tell my students, look, I have lost money and I know where you will lose money. So when I teach you and I teach a certain lesson and different topics, and I say pay attention here, that means this is where you can lose money. And I don't want you to lose money, because I have already lost money in this market in this way. So don't do it that way, right? So this is for you if you want to be financially, you know, you love that kind of income independence, right? You know, just like myself, like I said, you know, I'm not even in the US. I'm in Ghana right now, but I trade, you know, as and when I want, you know, make money as and when I want, participate in this market as and when I want, right? This is for you as well. If you're a complete beginner with zero market experience, right? It's fine. Come in, right? Come on in. If you have zero knowledge, zero experience in this market, I teach this, you know, so that even a 10-year-old can understand. The way I teach this financial market, even a 10-year-old, 8 years old will be able to understand this market, right? I start from zero and we go all the way toward hero, right? So complete beginner is beginner friendly, guys. It's beginner friendly. It's beginner friendly. If you are a self-taught trader who keeps losing and wants some type of structure, this is for you. If you want to build a long-term wealth, through financial markets, this is for you as well. You are willing to put in the time. No, it's not just magic. I don't want people to get that kind of, if you guys are in my WhatsApp group, right? Some of you are there. Some of my students, they're not even there. Some of them are also in some of these WhatsApp groups as well. And sometimes I post daily trade and daily profit in there. And I sometimes I don't post it because I don't want people to get things the wrong way. Because when people begin to see that, oh, you're making 5,000 a day, you're making 20,000 a day, you're making 30,000 a day, they might have this kind of microwave drive-through kind of mindset that, oh, you can just slot in $100 and make 10,000. You can just slot in $5,000 and make, $50,000 a day. No, it doesn't work like that. Wealth is built over time. You need this skill set. You got to be patient with yourself, right? And gradually you'll come in, right? You'll be able to make that kind of money as well. But I don't want people to get into the mindset. So I don't even post this, every day over there. Sometimes I post it over there that, hey, here is the possibilities out there. Guess what? Even as I'm posting that, I made 1,000, I made 20,000, 30,000, whatever over there. I also have people that I see their P&L for the day and they're making $390,000 a day. When I see that, I'm not jealous, I'm not envy, I get inspired. I get to know that, wow, this market, there is no cap, there is no ceiling, right? There is no limitation. You can keep going as long as you know what you're doing. I get inspired by it, that there is a possibility out there. Right? So if you want to build a long-term wealth through the financial market, this is for you, right? If you're willing to put in the time, this is for you. Don't come in and have that kind of, drive-through and microwave mindset. You put in 5 minutes, you switch the microwave on, 2 seconds, the food is warm. You think it's just going to be that. No. You must be willing to commit the time. You must be willing to put in the effort. You must be disciplined to learn. You must be coachable. You don't come in with your own rules. Right? I say this to my students, right? That the market, it has zero allegiance and zero loyalty to anyone. The market does not know who's going to be at the mosque tomorrow. The market does not know who was probably even at church last Sunday or even going to be at church coming Sunday. The market has zero tolerance, zero allegiance, zero loyalty to anyone. The market simply follows principles, patterns, right? And you need to be disciplined enough to be committed to this. Don't come in with your own rights and your own rules and you want to write your own rules. No. So you have to be coachable. You have to be somebody who wants to be, be humble enough to be taught, right? Disciplined enough, right? That is what the market is looking for. So don't come in to write your own rules with the market. No. People have been doing this for decades, several decades over the years. Right, several decades over the years, and so the market have long time shown some pattern how it behaves, and that's why we are following that kind of behavior and pattern. We are not here to bring in innovation, right? We are not here to bring in innovation and change it. No. We are here to follow what has worked, and that is how we are following institutional footprint, right? So you want a proven system with live coaching and community support. This is for you. If you are serious about changing your financial reality permanently, this is for you. And in the same vein, likewise, this is not for you. If you are looking for a get-rich-quick scheme overnight, like I said, microwave drive-through kind of mindset. No. This is not for you. You think you're going to slot in $500 like a casino, $10, and you make $5,000. No. This is not that kind of, pyramid, MLM, right? Here is not MLM. You bring one person in, you also make more money. You bring two people in, and then you keep going up. No, this is not like a pyramid scheme, right? That's not how it works. Here, we are building a transferable skill set, financial skill set over here. It takes time. It takes energy. It takes commitment. It takes effort, just like any other thing, right? Just like any other thing. You are unwilling to invest time in studying and practicing. This is not going to work for you. You must be willing to to sit down, right? Sit down, and then learn, invest time and learn. You expect to profit from day one without doing the work. So if you're coming in and you think that from day one I'm going to make $10,000, $15,000, no, this is not for you. I'm going to tell you up front. But I have to be the the bad news bearer. This is not for you. If you think that from day one you're going to make $20,000 from doing nothing, this is not for you, right? I hate this, but I have to be the bad news bearer for you, right? So if you're coming in with that kind of mindset that you're not going to learn, you're not going to do anything, then you're just going to sit down day one, you make $100,000. This is not for you, right? You are not emotionally prepared to accept losses as part of your trading. Look, the market, like I said, has zero what allegiance, zero loyalty to anyone, right? There are lost days, right? There are days that I get into a trade and the trade might not go my way. Guess what? I get out, but my risk management is working for me, right? It's working for me. You are someone else to manage your money for you. You want someone to look at things for you. No, this is not for you. Here, I don't do this for anybody. I have people who call me who say, "Oh, can I give you money so that you trade and we can even share or split the profit?" No, I want you to be in charge. I don't trade. I don't trade for anybody, right? I don't take anybody's money and trade for the person. No, I trade my own money, right? I trade my own money. So this is not for you as well. If you think you're just going to give money to somebody to trade and you do nothing and enjoy. No, I want you yourself to be trained. I want your naked eyes to be trained to see and spot opportunities on the chart yourself, right? That's the kind of training that you'll be getting out of this. Okay, that is the kind of training that you'll be getting out of this. So if you're looking for guaranteed return, with zero effort, this is not for you as well. So this is what I offer over here. So of course there's a community structured live sessions. Every now and then we have all asset mastery every month. Even after trading, I try to make sure that I sharpen their skills and my students their skills all the time. So I check in on them. I have one-on-one sessions as well. I have a calendar link that my students, they're able to book my calendar one-on-one. If there's something that you are struggling, you need some clarification on something, you want me to clarify something, hey, my doors and my calendar is always open. You can go ahead and book it, and then we can do one-on-one, as well. I focus mostly on NASDAQ, right? NASDAQ brings in a lot of money, so why not? Why do we have to, fix it if it's not broken, right? if it's making us money, why do we have to fix it? But hey, you are free to trade any instrument that you like. That's why you get the education. The education essentially opens the door for you. So if you don't like NASDAQ, right, like I trade NASDAQ a lot. If you want crude oil, my students, some of them, they trade crude oil. They like crude oil. I have Teddy, he loves crude oil a lot, right? I have other guys do the same thing. Fox also trade crude oil a lot, right? I have students, they trade gold. I have students, they love different instruments, right? If you love silver, go and trade it, right? You've been trained enough to trade any kind of asset instrument, right? Some of them, they also love the Dow Jones as well, right? They trade all sort of assets, corn, wheat, etc., soya bean. Hey, you have the right skill set. So the world is your oyster. You can trade anything, right? You can trade any instrument that you want. Okay. Of course, with TradeWithoutTears Academy here, we have all this, the weekly, trade grade that I provide. Direct access, of course, NQ, active group, lifetime, you have all these things to your advantage, compared to no direct access, occasional clips here and there, like you get on YouTube. I've done all this before and it didn't end well, right? I tell my students I've done all this before. Prior to me going to pay almost $60,000, for my education, right? Initially I thought that I could just follow YouTube. Why not? I'm an IT person. I've been in tech. I've been in IT since 2011, right? Yeah, I think late 2010 or so. That's when I got into tech. So are you trying to tell me that I don't know that YouTube exists? Somebody who has been in tech, who has been in development, who has been in different things and comes to IT. I've made money. I've made, as a matter of fact, my first job in IT around late 2010, to early 2011, I was already being paid $100,000, right? So it's not like we've not seen big money before. I've seen big money before. I've been paid over 6 figures and over for a decade. So if I'm telling you, like, from 2010 and 2011 that I started getting to IT, I started getting paid, big amount, right? My first job in IT, I think my first pay rate, it was really, really a huge jump. I think it was 40 something, 40, I forgot the exact rate. Is it 42 an hour or 45 something? It was a big one, and it took me all the way, from from somebody who's making, we've all been there. I've done, 3 jobs, 4 jobs prior to my first IT job, right? And then all of a sudden, boom, over 100K, right? So I've done this, but I can tell you, there's nothing like this. Somebody who have done tech, I've done a lot of things in tech, right? I've worked for some of the best companies globally. I've actually managed and handled some of the best products, in the world. I've worked for Nissan Motor Corporation. I handled their vehicle connected services, all the connectivities in the car. I've handled Infinity. I've handled, the Nissan Maxima. As a matter of fact, the Nissan Leaf, the EV, I actually handled the supervision of their first mobile app. I actually published and handled the mobile app of the Nissan EV, the Nissan Leaf, for the first time, right? There is a global thing. I had a team in Tokyo, in Japan. I had a team in Switzerland. I had a team all over the place. I've worked for UBS Bank. I've worked for Citibank. I've worked for, CDC. I've worked for different organizations. So I've done a lot of things in tech. I've managed and had teams all over, in India, everywhere, right? So it's not like we have not seen this before. So when I see guys, making now getting to IT, cybersecurity, we've done all this thing before, right? Getting to tech and now making 100K, 160K, we've done all this thing before, right? But there is nothing that beats what we call the financial market. I'm going to tell you, and I'm going to end it right here, right? There's nothing that beats this one, right? Because I'm not my income is not location sensitive. Yeah, I don't have to go and sit in a seat 9 to 5, somewhere, long running meetings, etc. before I can make, a dollar, a quid. Nah, I don't do that, right? Okay, so everything included in this, your education, of course, the things that I've already talked about, over here. There is something that I always want to show my newbies, the new potential students coming in, and that is what I call the numbers game. Let me bring that over here. The numbers game is very powerful. I bring this up here because, if you understand this, it makes a lot of things very easy. Let me bring the numbers game. Trading is a numbers game. It's a numbers game. Let me bring this. Bring it up on my screen. Okay, so where is it? It's a numbers game, guys. It's a numbers game. If you understand this, if you know how this works, yeah, so also talking about, I've taught people in IT, I've been teaching people in IT, years ago. They were paying me, $3,000, to teach them. I've taught people to become, automation engineers, product managers, product owners, scrum masters, etc. I've taught all these things, right? Cybersecurity, etc. I've taught people in all these fields, right? For them to make $100,000, etc. It's great. I love to see that. I love to see my community, my people also rise up, right? It's not every day that we are home care supervisors and home care. We are taking all this multiple shifts in care jobs and care business, etc. But back in the days when we get into IT, we didn't have anybody to look up to. There were just few people around. When it comes to this, there were just only a handful of people, around, and we were just doing things by ourselves, right? I remember, my first interview and second interview. Some of us, we even have to, you stand in front of a mirror, right? And then you were talking to yourself. These days, years ago, I was prepping people for interview, and I was training and getting them ready and doing all of that for them. I have multiple interview videos, almost 15 real interview videos that I share with people that they can look at. All right, so this is a numbers game. Okay, let me know if you guys can see the spreadsheet over here. Can you guys see the spreadsheet over here? Let me know, guys, if you guys can see this spreadsheet. Let me get a yes in there. So I know I didn't put anybody to sleep. Can you guys see the spreadsheet? Let me get a yes in the chat, guys. Let me get a yes in the chat. want to make sure that I didn't put anybody to sleep, right? I didn't put anybody to sleep. So I do this over here, and this is a spreadsheet that I've done over time that I show to people, right? So for instance, right, we can change these numbers as we want, right? We can change these numbers as we want, and this number is very powerful, and I want people to be able to understand this. Okay, so let's say you come to the market, and let's say you come with only $2,000, right? Okay, and let's say you come to the market, you come with only $2,000. That's the only money that you come to the market with. As an example, we can change this number. We can use different numbers. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter over here. I hope this recording did not stop. Okay, all right, it's still recording because of the internet that was interrupted a little bit. Okay, so we come in with $2,000, and then our stop loss percentage and our stop loss over here, and then risk to reward. Let's say we're making about 3 to 5, and I can change this as well. We can use maybe 3, 2, whatever to do this as well. And let's say that in a month, right? In a month, you take almost 50 trades in a month, right? In a whole month, right? That's about 20 working days in a month. It may be sometimes holidays come in here and there, but let's say 20 working days in a month, and you take 50 trade in a month, right? Trades, the total number of trades in a month. And let's say that you have only 15 wins, right? You have only 15 wins. I want you guys to pay attention and look here, carefully. You have only 15 wins, and you have 35 losses, right? So that means your win rate is only 30%, right? And we can change this number. I can put maybe 10 wins and whatever. Our win rate will also show over, percentage will show over here. It will calculate it for us, over here. And I like it when people say, oh, but 30% winning rate, that's very low. You can have a 90%, you can have 70%. I get it. I get all of that, right? I get all of that. Your win rate can be 50%, it can be 60%, it can be 70%. But let me use even a very low percentage, right? Such as 30%, right? So you have only 15 wins and then 35 losses, right? 50 trades, and that is 30%. Guess what is going to happen? So what that means is that your initial account size that you bring into the market, that's about $2,000. You can essentially add about $800, in there with this. And that is about 40% increase. And guess what? This is what I call the numbers game, right? That's why I call this spreadsheet the numbers game. So your initial balance is $2,000, and you bring in this, in over here. That is the first month, right? Can you guys see over here? So that's the month 1, the first month over here. Maybe let me highlight this, right? So, so that you guys can see, month 1. That's the first month. Right? So if you keep doing this, right, all the way, this is going to be the second month. The second month, you've already added about 3,920. So the numbers keep compounding. You are trading with this capital, right? Can you guess, by your 12 month where you will be? This is your 12 months. It's a numbers game. This is not magic, right? And this one, we are even using conservative numbers. Like I said, 30% win rate. Can you imagine, using 30% win rate over here, right? By your 12 months, this is how much you could be at. By your 24th, right? That's about 2 years time. This is where's my spreadsheet? Can you guys see the spreadsheet? Is it still visible? Oh, looks like we okay. All right. Okay, can you guys see the spreadsheet? Is it back on again, visible? Let me know. Okay, all right. So by the 24th month, that's like 2 years time. You see where we are right now? So you started from here, over here. It's a numbers game. So can you imagine that maybe you brought $1,000 as well, right? Let's make the numbers $1,000, right? And we can use any number over here. It's a numbers game. You can use $1,000 over here. $1,000, you start making this, $1,000 first month, second month, third month. It's a good, money that you're making, right? By your 12 months, that is 1 year, this is where you will be at, right? Let me highlight this over here. This is where you're going to be at. That's your 12 months. It's a numbers game. Trading is a numbers game. The financial market is a numbers game, right? It's mathematics. So we are not coming in blindly and then doing things emotionally. No. We are doing it with pen and paper. Right? We want to be consistent. We want to be able to aggregate, our losses, our profit, everything over there. It's business. we're treating this like a real business, right? We are not coming here to come and joke. This is money business that we are doing over here. You know, I jokingly say this or that. Look, I'm a working Forex bureau, right? I jokingly, say this or that. Like, I'm a foreign, Forex bureau. I'm a working Forex bureau, right? I don't joke, with business, right? By your 12th month, by your 24th month, and then numbers keep going on. So you can imagine, right? Numbers keep going on. If you bring in a capital of, let's say, $10,000, right? And that changes a lot. That changes a lot. This is your first month, right? It's your first month over here. This is your 12th month, right? It's a numbers game, guys. It's a numbers game. So these days, when somebody says that I can make $1 million, I'm not surprised. Right? Somebody say that, hey, I make $1 million, even myself. It's not surprise. Why? Because it's a numbers game over here. The numbers can add up quickly just like that. It's not a surprise. I don't get surprised by this. If I come in over here with a trading capital of $20,000, to trade in this market, your guess is as good as mine. From the first month over here to the 12 months over here, I'm not surprised. It's a numbers game. Even with this, we are still dealing with 30% win rate. How about if we change it to 50%? How about if we go 70%? But we don't even have to change it. There's a company, what's the name? There's a big hedge fund company based out in New York. Guess what? They publish their annual data, the profit that they've made, everything, their ROI, everything. This company is doing billions of dollars. And guess what their win rate is? Their win rate is not even up to 50%. It's almost 47 or 48% or something like that. Right? So it's about consistency here. Your ability to show up every day on the market. Right? Your ability to what? To show up every day on the market. Take the trades. Do not be hesitant. As opportunity presents itself, you take it as your strategy says, do it. As your trading plan says, do it. Right? You get in, you get out. You get in, you get out. You take every opportunity that presents itself on the market. Right? Consistency is the name of the game here. But the numbers game is very powerful, guys. The numbers game is powerful. So even if we are losing 35, but our wins are only 15 in a whole month, or we can even have five wins, right? We can even change this number over here and say 5. We can change this number over here, right? But it will still be a good number, for us. We can change this number and say maybe 20 wins over here. It is still a decent amount of money, right? 20 or maybe 21, right? Over here. It is still a good, decent amount of money over here. 15. We were just doing, 14 over here. Guys, and this happens all the time. If I'm trading, people that know me, I go into the market like crazy, to trade, right? But essentially what I want you guys to understand is that it's a numbers game, right? This is a numbers game. It's a numbers game, right? This is a numbers game, and so we will treat it as such. We treat it like a real business. So if you bring in like even $2,000, right? And here, I'm very careful when I'm saying this because I want you to come in like, a casino and saying that you just come and slotting like I talked about, right, earlier. That it is not, you don't come in, it's not a microwave type of thing. It's just slotting $2,000 and you expect this. No. You bring this 2,000, I expect you to what? Still commit effort, commit, time. You need to study. You need to do what you have to do. Don't just bring in $2,000 and expect that, you're just going to flip it and then just like that. No, it's not done here, right? It's not done here. I've already mentioned it. It's not done here, right? You come in you still have to study. You still have to do what you have to do, right? And like I said, the market has what? Zero loyalty, zero allegiance to anybody. It doesn't know who is going to be. Today is already Friday for me in Ghana. Some people will be going to the mosque. The market does not know who was at the mosque. The market does not know who is going to be on church, who's going to be at church on Sunday, or who was at church even last Sunday. Does not know, right? So I expect it to still work. And when you work, that is how you'll be able to get this kind of results, right? You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. There has to be blood, sweat, equity in here, right? You put in the work. Late night, you are reading the chart. You want to understand the chart, right? You are doing analysis of the chart. That is what the sweat, blood, equity you are putting in. You're doing the hard work, and that's how the market will pay you, right? Okay, all right. So that's a numbers game that I wanted to, show you guys, how that numbers game looks like. All right, everybody with me so far? Let me get a yes in the chat so I can continue. All right, everybody with me so far? Can I get a yes in the chat quick? Can I get a yes? I want to make sure that I didn't put anybody to sleep. I don't think I'm a boring teacher. I don't think I'm a boring teacher. I don't think I put anybody to sleep. I didn't put anybody to sleep. So let me get a yes. Let me see that everybody put in something so that I know everybody's still here with me. Nobody's sleeping, right? Nobody is sleeping. I didn't put anybody to sleep, right? Okay, all right. So here in this trading, you're going to get all these things, right? You're going to get all the things that I've talked about, over here. Look, we went to college. Some of the things that we are even doing right now, it's not college that taught us. College did not teach us, but we've spent money. We still have student loans. Some of you, your student loan, my student loan is I still have almost about something more to pay, almost $70,000 or something, even more to pay, right, from student loan. But guess what? What I do these days, it has nothing to do with my 4-year college education, right? I've bought several courses that did not yield any kind of results for me until I learned it the right way, right? So your college education, almost $40,000, $200,000. Sometimes you might even have some more student loan and debt, that you're still paying, but you are still here, right? Random courses, random, you're buying all these stocks. People say go and buy, go and do this without any knowledge, without any structure. You don't know anything. You just go and acquire this education out there, which a lot of times it does not yield the intended results, right? Because I've done it and I know it didn't end me well, but here, it is very different. So what I do is that, I have all these markets. I have the futures market, I have the options market, I have the Forex market, I have the stock market, I have all the things. But there's a fundamental framework to all these things, and that's the core. So I teach the core strategy. The core strategy is very different. Without that, you're not going to be able to learn any of these other markets that is out there, because we use that core strategy in sort of leveraging on all the other markets, right? That is our basis fundamental for all the other markets out there, right? So the core is there, and then all the other markets are also very different. A lot of times, most of my students, they just say, hey, now you know what, let me make sure that I understand all this market. I'll just go for the entire package, right? So that means they'll get a call. They will also get, the futures market. They get, all the other markets as well, the Forex, the stock, options and whatnot. They'll get all the other markets that is out there, instead of just getting the call, for, of course, that's the basis. You need that, $3,000, and then getting any of the futures market, it may be futures market for another $3,000, and then just saying that they just, hey, let me get everything for the 10,000 that you've mentioned. Most of the students, they just do everything, and that's heavily discounted. If you get all the markets, at that price. So one-time kind of investment, of course, this is a financial investment as well. I understand it, but this is essentially a money that you can make in a day, right? If you guys saw even my profit for even today alone, that's the kind of money that you just give yourself time, right? Just give yourself time. You can essentially make this kind of money, in days, in a week, in a month, depending on your experience here on the market, right? But essentially, guys, your path to the financial freedom is absolutely yours, right? So it depends on what market you are interested in, that you want to go for. It takes about 2 to 3 months for my training, because it's an education. There's not, like I said, a microwave, a drive-through, in and out, 5 minutes and you are done. No, it takes time. I give my student time to practice, to hone in their craft, to improve a bunch of assignments, etc., that you got to work on. And that is how education is. It's not a boot camp, 1 day, 2 days boot camp. I mean, where are you going to go with that? You can't go far with that, right? It's a walking, talking relationship with me, right, for a lifetime. And so we are not trying to rush it. We are not rushing things over here, right? We are not rushing things over here. If you want to do one-on-one session as well is available, but that's going to cost you money, because my time is valuable. One-on-one session is $15,000. I can do that, one-on-one session. But if you want to take it, as a batch, as part of my students, that is a price as well. So, you know, if you invest in yourself in this market and in this education, you know, considering even this, if you're just considering just, you know, NASDAQ alone, and NASDAQ, you know, it's, if we are doing almost 10 points in a day, right? 10 points is almost about, you know, if we are trading the mini, 10 points is about $200 profit per contract, right? So if you're doing this, let's take a look at this math over here. If you are doing just NASDAQ alone, we are trading NASDAQ and it's 10 points, you know, just a day, right? That's what we are targeting, right? Monthly potential is almost like about $1,000, right? 10 points is all that we are doing. You know, 5 days, we are already making this kind of money, you know. Moderate, you know, that's a very, you know, conservative, right? You know, maybe 5 days by the month, that is 10 points per trade, and just that, you know, we're doing this. But if you are moderate, you know, we are taking more trades in the maybe 2 contracts, we can be making this kind of money within a month, and even more than that. And if we are active, somebody who is active just like I am, you know, looking at the chart every day, every morning, you know, you can essentially be making that kind of money, you know, within a month, you know, and over in a year, maybe 108,000 or so, you know, just looking at 10 points. And by 10 points, let me show you guys what I mean by 10 points. 10 points means this. Let me bring the chart here and show you guys, so that you understand. So 10 points here means something like this. So, you know, let's say the market is here. You know, can you guys see my chart over here? So earlier, before this session, I was trading. I was in NASDAQ. This is NASDAQ over here. 10 points means something like this. So here the price is 30,275. So price moving from here 275 to 265 to 265 over here. So guys, 10 point is just this kind of movement from here where I'm pointing, 1075 to 265. So are you trying to tell me that the market cannot move just 10 points over here and make you $200, you know, in a day? This is what we are talking about over here. This is a demonstration of what I'm talking about here. Maybe let me come to this side so that, you know, it makes sense, right? Let me come to this side so that it makes sense over here. When I say 10 points, right? When I say 10 points, it's just a movement on the chart, right? If I take a trade and I'm only looking for 10 points, right? So this is 275. You know, I just want to let you guys understand what 10 points means on the chart, right? So from this point over here, let me get another. So 275. So 30,275 to 30,265. That is 10 points, right? So this movement from here to here, right? Let me get an arrow over here. This is what I'm talking about here. Can you guys see that? This is essentially 10 point movement, right? But even now that we are even on this chart, the market is moving, is going down more than 10 points, right? But let's say that in a day, this is all that we are targeting. We are looking for the market to move 10 points for us, whether to go up or to come down in a direction that we understand, and we have taken the trade, right? 10 points on NQ, on NASDAQ, is $200. Now, can you guys understand what, you know, I've been talking about, right? You know, so if we are actively trading, that means we can make more than, you know, the $200 that we are talking about here. This is 10 points. This from this point to this point. The market is dropping more than that already. You know, just this evening, just as we are sitting here, we are just chatting here, talking about this demo session alone. The market has moved more than 10 points, because I got into a trade when the market was somewhere here. Before I started the demo session, I got traded and I made some little money from here, you know, and then the market has drawn down over here. Almost, let me check here. The market has essentially, you know, moved almost to where it got down here to 72 points. Can you imagine? The market has already fallen 72 points over here. So this kind of movement, and we are only looking for 10 points, right? You know, is this not possible? That is possible. You know, so if, you know, my trade purpose and plan says I just need 10 points, $200 a day, right? 10 points, $200 a day. That's what I'm looking for, minimum wage, right? You know, for my financial freedom. I'm just looking for 10 points, and 10 points, you know, is $200 profit per one contract on, you know, the NASDAQ mini, right? This is potentially what is in return. This is what we are talking about here. So the market is not complicated at all. It's just simple. You just have to understand it. You have to do the math. It's calculation, right? We're not getting in emotionally, like I said. It's not emotions, it's not, no. You understand what you are doing, and you're only looking for 10 points. That's it. And you can get more than 10 points. But even on the conservative side, we are just looking for 10. Let's stick to just 10 points, right? Just 10 points. And 10 points can make us this money. That is what we are talking about here, right? 10 points is what we are looking for the day. In a day, you can get this, over and over and over and over and over, right? So 10 points. This is what some of my guys who have taken my training, etc. I mean, they come back to me, they appreciate me every now and then, that I've made the financial market very simple for them. Like I said, it's beginner friendly, right? It's beginner friendly. I teach this so that even a 10-year-old can understand, right? From the very bottom. If you have never understand anything with the financial market, anything, you should be able to understand this because of the way and how and how I present it, right? I try to break it down. That's why it's called Trade Without Tears, right? I take away all the tears away so that it becomes very easy for everyone. Frequently asked questions. These are FAQs over here. Frequently asked questions. Do I need a prior experience or finance background? Absolutely not, right? We start from complete zero, assuming no prior knowledge, right? So I assume that nobody. It's like when I was teaching IT, or teaching IT then. No, it doesn't matter. I have people who come from nursing, who come from different backgrounds. They come and learn my IT program, back then, right? Yeah, they come from all sort of background. And this financial market to the same thing, When I started teaching this, I have to break it down. I have to break it down, water it down so that anybody can understand this, right? And I hold your hand and make sure that you understand the financial market, right? So no prior knowledge is needed. Question over here: how much capital do I need to start trading after the program? You can begin trading the MNQ, that is the Nasdaq, the micros as low as $200 to $500 to $1,000, any amount, right? Those of you who want to go in, to other things, small amount of money can, get you in there as well. So question that people also ask, because I've done this, people ask all these questions. That's why I put together all these, frequently asked questions over here. I've tried trading before and lost money. Is this different? Of course, most people lose because they trade without structure, right? I've told you guys, I lost more than $40,000-$50,000 before I learned it the right way. Before I went to pay another similar amount of money to learn it the right way, right? And of course, if you are getting in and you just going off on what people are telling you, go and buy, sell, without even understanding, without even no technical analysis. You cannot even do analysis yourself and see where you are buying. Is it oversold? Is it overbought? Is it at a discount? Where are you buying this? Where on the chart? You cannot even read the chart yourself, right? So if you come to that and you do it that way, of course you're going to lose money, right? And I've done that before learning the right way. This program gives you a proven system, right? Risk management rules, right? If I give you the rules, if I give you all the things, because I've done it over and I'll know where you will definitely going to fall into a trap. And I'm telling you that don't fall into a trap. Do this instead. You have to follow what I'm telling you, right? You have to follow what I'm telling you. Question here: how long does it take to see results? With constant study and practice, most students begin trading with real confidence within 3 to 6 months. I expect you to start, making some indications, some good profit. Look, wealth is built over time. It is not an overnight thing. If anybody tells you, you're going to slow this, the other person is essentially asking you to gamble. It's almost like a casino. No, and that's not what we are doing here. We are doing a proper financial market education over here that it will ensure that you transfer. I'm even interested in you transferring this skill set to your, it becomes a legacy skill set essentially, right? I want this to become a legacy skill set. So what if my country does not have access to futures market, etc.? Nasdaq is traded, globally. Those of you in Ghana, I'm in Ghana. I have Ghana accounts that I've set up and I do some of these things as well. I have American accounts that I trade as well, right? You can trade this anywhere, right? The NAS 100, the US Tech, that's the same Nasdaq that we trade, right? I'll teach you how to, navigate around that. What does lifetime access actually mean? So you pay once, never again, and then every curriculum update, whatever video that I do, update different things, all asset masteries, etc., monthly sessions, you are on, you are in. You are never forgotten. You are never ignored. You have access to me, book 101, etc. This is a lifetime, opportunity. That is what I want to say here. All right. So how to enroll? Very simple. Reach out to me, of course. Send me a message. Send me a WhatsApp. choose your track, whatever you want to do. Hey, I'm all for you. I'm rooting for you. Whichever direction I can give you advice where to go. I wish that you go ahead and take all these options, right? You take the entire package. Why? Because you don't know which one you're going to love until you have experienced it all, and you say, okay, all right, I'll stick to this one. I think futures is going to be good for me for now. In the future, I might go into forex, I might go into options, I might go into all this other market, stock options as well. The stock market is there, so it's totally up to you. But my duty is that to expose you to all these other markets out there, right? So yeah, you choose your track, you show your commitment, you pay your fee, and then that's it. You are in. You start your journey, right? These are 4 simple steps here, right? You reach out to me, you tell me what you are interested in. I can advise you on which direction to go, and of course, we start the journey here together. All right. So every day you wait, guys, it's a day you are paying for ignorance, right? I always say this, that poverty loves indecision, right? I tell my students all the time, poverty loves indecision, I'm going to do this, I'm going to go on YouTube. You're going to go on YouTube, you still come back. I've had people that went on YouTube and still came after a year, 2 years, came back and no, I think, we need a more structured way, to do this. And I'm telling you, you're not going to regret, doing this the right way. You're not going to regret doing this right way. All right. So I'm going to open the floor to some questions that you guys will have. And then hopefully I can answer some questions for you guys. And then that's it. We call it a night. So, you guys are free to unmute yourself. So let me ask you guys, let me see if I can ask you guys to unmute yourself. Questions, whatever I can answer for you. Guys, the market is open, right? Especially the futures market is open. It's already open. I'm already in some of this trade already this evening, taking advantage, right? So that's it. I'm looking for 10 points, right? All that I'm looking for is $200, and you're going to survive, right? You survive, right? Just 10 points. Just 10 points is what I'm looking for. So guys, questions, anything I can answer for you. If there's anything I can answer, you have something that, I didn't touch on, just let me know. Just let me know. I'm here. I'm here so that, I can answer all these questions for you guys. All right. My phone number, is let me put it out here in the chat. It's 615-423-7652. It's a US phone number. 615-423-7652. And my Ghana number 054 0706607. That's my Ghana number as well. I'll put it in the chat. Do you guys see it? That's my Ghana number 054 0706607. If you want to give me a shout, give me a call, whatever, talk to me, explain your situation, your condition, whatever. Hey, I'm ready to work with you, right? Ready to work with you. I just hope that everybody comes to this knowledge, right? So that's my US phone number over there, 615-423-7652. And then Ghana phone number as well, 054 0706607 as well. But essentially, as you guys can see, the market is still on. I said I was going to talk about prop firms. Yeah, let me talk about that, and then even as I wait for your questions and whatnot. So prop firms are essentially companies that they provide capital for traders, right? Prop firms provide capital for traders. That means you can essentially come into this market and you trade, you take a challenge, right? So they will let you take a challenge, and then you pass the challenge. Once you pass the challenge, and then they'll give you money, they'll fund you, and then you trade with their capital, right? Can you guys hear me okay? My internet is saying that my internet is unstable. I hope you guys can hear me. Can I get a yes in the chat? My internet is giving me information that, hey, whatever, it's saying something here. Hopefully I didn't lose you guys, or you guys didn't lose me. You guys still here? Okay. All right. So prop firms, like I said, they give you the capital to trade, right? So instead of you coming to the market with your own $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $100,000 and whatnot, prop firms, give you a challenge. As a matter of fact, you pay a small token fee, right? You pay a small token fee, and after paying the small token fee, You trade when you pass their challenge, and then they get you funded, and then you trade with their capital, right? And then you make money. So, for instance, I have so many of these, accounts. So, as an example, this is Lucid, right? So, Lucid, I have 5 accounts with them. I have 5 of their 50,000 accounts. So each account is worth $50,000. So this account is $50,000. This one's worth 50,000. This one's worth 50,000, 50,000. So I have 5 of their 50,000 accounts, and each one of these accounts I paid Lucid, I think it's $80 or so, something like that. For this account, $80 or something. Yeah, I paid their small amount of money, and then I passed their challenge. So when I passed their challenge, they got me funded. So they gave me 50,000 for each one of these accounts that I'm trading with, right? That's the account that I'm trading. I was showing you guys over here, right? And that's the same thing with all the prop firms that are around, right? So I'm trading with their money. And then when I trade with their money, now we have what we call the 90-10, right? They have a rule that called 90-10. So when I make money on the account, I take 90% and then they take 10%, right? So I've traded with the account as an example over here. I've traded with the account, and I've started taking money profit from it. So on Monday night, that is May 25th, on each one of these accounts, I withdrew $2,000 from each of these accounts. Total about $9,000 into my Bank of America account, right? So all that they require of me is to trade it and make sure that every day I can make a profit of $150, right? Daily minimum profit. Can you guys see it over here? Daily minimum profit. Can you guys see that? So there are so many of these companies around, right? So you essentially just have to build your skill and even come and trade their own capital, right? And you guys split the profit. You guys will essentially split the profit, right? You guys split the profit. So I have 5 days to trade. So I trade for 5 days and I take money. I take for five days, I take money, right? But even for me, I have built so much buffer. I've made so much money on it that even for the next 5 weeks, every 5 days I can take out the $10,000 from this account, and that's what I'm doing, right? So today is the 4th day as well, and I've already made I was trading this earlier before we started the session, and I've made almost $236 on this account. But I've built a buffer, right? 9,000 on one day I made about $9,900. On another day I made 5,000. So I built 500. So I'm able to take out the maximum amount that is allowed, which is $2,000 from this. So Monday night, I'm gonna withdraw another $10,000 from this account, and I'll keep trading like that. So every day I just have to make 150. If I make it, that's it. But this is an example of some of the profit. I have so many of them as well, right? So essentially every 5 days I can be making $10,000 from this account. And this is some companies' money. It's not my money, right? They've gotten me funded. So this is an example of the profit. And when you come to this training, I'll teach you. Of course, all this is part of what you guys are going to benefit from, right? I'll teach you how to leverage your own profits account, or even if you want to trade your own money, your own capital, it's fine. You have the skill set, right? You have the skill set. So there are companies around, they give you 100,000, they give you 300,000 account, they give you all these things. I'll teach you how to leverage on that. You trade it, you make money, and then you have your payout, right? You just have to make money, and then you split it. You take 90% of their profit, and then they will take 10% of the profit, and that's it. Everybody's happy, right? Everybody is happy, so that's how it's done, right? That's how it's done. All right, are there any questions, guys? Hope you guys have my phone number. Whatever you have questions and whatnot you want to ask, me. Any question before we wrap up over here? I just wanted to show you guys, the possibilities that's out there. And then definitely reach out, right? Definitely reach out, send me a message and whatnot. I will definitely be answering. But hey, the financial market, it's an opportunity, and I don't want anybody to miss out, right? It's an opportunity out there. I don't want anybody missing out. You get paid, right? Get paid just like that. This is just one of my accounts, right? I have several of these accounts. I have Apex, I have TradeWify, I have so many of these profits accounts. So guess what? I'm getting paid, right? And I don't want to be paid alone. You guys need to get paid, because I'm not the one paying you. The companies will pay you. You just have to come with your skill set. Come and learn this, right? And that's it. Come and learn this. Back in the days, some people will say, "Oh, no, you're doing this." Ghana for like this, Ghana for like that. When IT, started teaching people IT. I said, no, look, their jobs are there. I'm not the one that is paying you. Companies are there to pay you. You just learn your skill set and then get in. It's like this financial market, right? The market is open Monday to Friday. It opens Sunday night. Even for the futures market, it opens Sunday night, right? I'm not one paying you. You just have to come with your skill set. And once your eyes are trained to spot opportunity on the market, that's it. You take advantage. You know, if you want to buy, just like the market is doing over here, the market is now, you know, rallying up. You know, if you want to buy, you want to sell, whatever, you do it. You make money from the market. But your eyes will be trained enough to see where to buy, where not to buy, right? Where to buy and where not to buy. So these funding companies, how do they handle trade losses? You are making losses. So did they give you like a drawdown, right? So they give you a drawdown. That is the minimum amount that you can lose, or let me say the maximum amount that you can lose, right? So if you lose that, then your account is gone. So if you start a challenge and you pay $50, you pay $39. Some of them Apex is like, you know, $39 for their 50K account, $50,000 account, $39. You pay it. So they give you like a loss limit that don't go beyond this limit. And that when you go beyond that limit, that tells them that you are not a good trader, right? So you just have to trade well, small money, small profit, you know, kakra, small, right? And then you pass their challenge and they know that yes, you are a good trader. Then they get you funded, right? They now get you funded, right? So that is what we teach when it comes to risk management, right? I teach this in the risk management so that, you know, you're not taking huge losses. You're not taking huge, you know, just big traders like that. No. So you are taught how to leverage on this. You do it the right way, right? So to your question, I know Seth, you are asking, yeah. So they have a cap for you. So you need to make sure that you don't go beyond that, right? You know, they don't give you 50,000 and expect you to blow the entire 50,000. No, they give you like a 2,000, you know, loss limit. So on the 50,000 account, as an example, you have a drawdown of $2,000. Yeah, I think $2,000 or so. So don't go beyond the 2,000. Stay within the 2,000 and even make more profit on it. And then that's it. You get to keep the account. For me, all the 50,000. If you guys can watch over here, this column is called distance to drawdown, right? So this and drawdown. So they gave me 2,000 loss over here. Guess what? I've built over 14,838 on it. So that means it's impossible for me to lose the account. So the initial drawdown that he gave me for the 50,000 account was what? $2,000, right? That don't go below 2,000. And guess what I've done? I've built enough buffer on it. I now have 14,000. So that means I have to be crazy to take some crazy trade to lose all the 40,000 for me to lose the account. It's impossible, right? And that is what I'll teach you, right? That's what I get to teach you, so that you also understand how to build a buffer. How do you do this so that you don't blow the account, so that you know you get to make money from this and withdraw money from this all the time, right? That is what I get to teach in this education. Okay, all right. Anybody else with any question before I let you guys go? All right, you guys got my phone number, so you know, if you want to send me a message, you know, yeah, feel free, guys. I don't bite, you know. Just send me a message and then I'll respond. My doors are always open. But yeah, I wanted to start this class Saturday, depending on, you know, how things go, and I want to wrap up with my last class, my March class, you know. And so yeah, the enrollment is on. Like, I remember for the next class is on, you know, hopefully. You know, we get started. Oh man, this market is dropping so hard right now. Man, there's money, right? When I see this, I know, guys, this is money. This is money. This is money on the chart. This is money. I see money happening right now, right? I see money happening. This is money. I see NASDAQ, you know, dropping so hard right now, right? Almost, you know, 30,228 as a price right now. I see that dropping right now. That's money. It's a lot of money. And of course, if you have the skill set, you know when to sell and be part of this, or you know when to buy. You know, you will learn this. All right, guys. That's all for me. I know some of you were referred by people, friends, whatever. You know, talk to them. If you don't have my phone, I think I'll put my phone number there. So you should have my phone number now. You know, to reach out to me. All right. Thank you all for coming in. I really appreciate you guys for taking time. I know you could be somewhere else. You know, you could be doing something else. somewhere, but you took the time to be here. So thank you all for joining in, and hopefully you are part of this journey. It's not just I don't believe in just you just coming to listen to this, but take action. Execution is worship, right? I have a message like that. Execution is worship. Take action, right? Take action, guys. And I want to see you in my class, and I want you to be part of this journey, right? Where freedom, your financial freedom, your financial independence is not tied to a location. It's just you and wherever you find yourself. All right, good night, and thank you. And hopefully I get to talk to you guys all very soon. All right, bye.